We're back with this week's weather forecast. This week is all about severe storms, and we already have a slight risk of severe storms issued for Wednesday, starting at the period of 7 a.m. Central Time. Now, I don't know why they chose Wednesday. I'm going to go into this. I see more evidence Tuesday of severe storms. This is most unstable. I see more evidence Tuesday of severe storms than Wednesday. Typically want 1,500 joules per kilogram. We are in the thousands, but that is good enough for severe storms. 1,500 just means you're going to see some bigger storms. As we go into Wednesday, look at the area. We have parts of Wisconsin, Chicago, into Michigan that do not have nearly enough energy to really warrant that slight risk. Which is why I'm a little confused. They do think it's going to be a wind-based threat because of the higher shear, which is kind of how the direction of the winds change with height. And since we're on Wednesday, we could look at lid strength, which is capping. That's how strong this little layer in the atmosphere is. It's relatively weak. And the SRH, storm relative helicity, this 0 to 3 kilometer one usually would say, what's the chance of a supercell? You could see in Chicago, 123 meters squared per second squared. If you go a little up north, it gets higher. Like if you get up to Lake Geneva, that's probably a glitch. Milwaukee, you are low. So there's not a lot of reasons for me to see the slight risk from this at least 12Z or 7 a.m. GFS, which stands for Global Forecast System. The temperatures are going to be okay, 70s. Again, it seems to be cooler, at least on Wednesday. I actually have not checked the rest of the week. Dew points, though, being in the mid to upper 60s, even up into the 70s at some places on this line. That could help with severe storms. That does mean it's humid. If I went into relative humidity, it's humid. Milwaukee, you've got 100%. Chicago, you're in the 90s. It says O'Hare 75. This system's a little weird. Even looking at the theta E, the closer we are to a color like this white and this pink, that usually signifies a threat for severe storms. So yes, everywhere in that slight risk zone, which was like, why did I not change the color? Which is like here, yes, I see some reasons why you might say there could be severe weather. I just don't see why we would have a slight risk already. So there's a chance they downgrade that. Even then, simulated reflectivity does show rain. Moving through Milwaukee, maybe up north. Chicago, you get hit a little. And it does seem to continue that rainfall. So I'm actually going to go to the end of the week to show you just how much rain we're going to get. It glitched out. We get, this is not the end of the I can't go to the end of the week. We don't get too much rain. Chicago, Indianapolis, you get a decent amount. But if you're in Chicago, southeastern Wisconsin, far southeastern Wisconsin, you don't get as much. Milwaukee could see as much as 1 inch, which isn't bad throughout the week. It does seem to be a relatively mild week because if I quickly go through, you see it gets into the 80s. There's a few days in the upper 80s. You see 90, so that's definitely not mild. But then it kind of cools off as we see lower 80s, if that. And then we get another heat wave, kind of. And that's expected. Now, what's causing these storms is, you could see, if I change to my pen and change the color. I'm never prepared for these videos. These are all... This is a stationary front right here, which means that a warm and cold front kind of met each other, well, actually warm and cold air mass, and neither of them are moving. Neither the cold front or the warm front are really moving, meaning that it stays there. This seems to be centered right over, Milwaukee, somewhere near Davenport, and then that's supposed to continue. It's supposed to It showed it becoming a cold front on the Thursday 7 a.m. map. So if that's the case, then that cold front could trigger storms, depending on what time the cold air mass does get in the way of the warm air mass. Hurricane-wise, we don't expect any Atlantic hurricanes, so that's pretty good, considering that I've seen some hurricane paths that look like this. Now, they aren't hurricanes by the time they get up north. Those are just tropical depressions, and they just bring rain. If we look in the eastern Pacific, we currently have Tropical Storm Delilah, and so this means that because of how the letter naming system works, D is the fourth letter in the English alphabet. That means that this is the fourth tropical storm in the eastern Pacific. Most of these have only happened in the last couple of weeks. Down here, I don't know my Central America countries, we do have a lower ended risk, 10% in the next 48 hours, 40% in the next 7 days. So basically this week is going to get warm some days, it'll be cooler some other days. Severe weather Wednesday, though I think maybe Tuesday we could see some. Please subscribe. I will be at camp this week, so you will not get any updates, unfortunately. So just please consider subscribing. I will add sites that you could go into when I'm gone. Slight risk, remember that. Thanks for watching.